Let's cross to the other side of the country now and catch up with 6PR radio host and 60 Minutes broadcaster Liam Bartlett. Good to talk to you again, Liam. We've looked at the lockdown in Perth. People like me just cannot believe that your Premier locks down on the basis of 1 or 2 cases. But you've teased out on radio this week how other people are suffering as a consequence, particularly people who've been waiting for elective surgeries, which have been put on hold.
Yeah, g'day, Chris. How are you? Look, it's always a good idea, I think, when you decide to cancel elective surgeries, the first step probably is to inform the surgeons. You'd say that's pretty straightforward.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of inconsistencies here in the West. This is the crazy town, crazy brave town, maybe, when it comes to lockdowns. But the surgeons were just left scratching their head through all the private hospitals here. You know, there was a huge list ready and waiting to go on Tuesday morning. We had a public holiday on Monday when the health minister came out and said elective surgery lists have mostly been cancelled, only for the most urgent of cases. And he said, your hospital will let you know, tell you what's going on. But the problem with that theory was that that was only happening in the public system. So in the private system, all the doctors' rooms that would normally tell patients what's going on were mostly closed. So all the patients were still prepping and being prepared and travelling from various country regions to go to the hospitals the next day. And the surgeons themselves said, well, nobody told us. So they turned up for work as well on the Tuesday morning and said, well, we got plenty of beds, we got plenty of doctors. Why can't we do the elective surgery? And there was a stunning silence from the health department.
Well, what a shambles, because as we know, while it's called elective surgery, a lot of these are very, very important procedures that change people's lives. I just want to get your thoughts also, Liam, from a public debate perspective. My understanding is that if you dare to question what Mark McGowan has been doing in Western Australia, and you have on your program dared to have people on who are critical, that there's a clampdown, that there's outrage, that you're attacked as being sort of almost unpatriotic to the great state of Western Australia. What's it like?
Look, I think there is a bit of that. I can sniff the wind turning a little bit in the past few days. I think the atmosphere has changed to a certain degree, Chris, but yeah, you're quite right. You're quite right. And you've got to say the Premier's been very successful in pushing forth the idea that if we do question that, if we don't all toe the line, we won't be safe. He says, keeping us safe, keeping us strong. And it's almost got to the stage where it's, I think, a brainwashing exercise where, as you say, if you question authority, question the decision-making process, it's, you're un-West Australian. It's not a patriotic thing to do, which is a very, very bad atmosphere to run any place, let alone the state of Western Australia. It's not healthy. And we've been calling for quite some time for the health advice. And it's one thing to say, well, we're doing this because of the medical advice. The health experts are telling us this. That's the only reason we're doing it. Well, that's great. Let's see the advice. Let's hear the advice, but look at it in writing. But it never seems to be forthcoming, Chris.
Spot on. That's the sort of transparency that would be reassuring to everyone. Thanks again for your perspective, Liam. I appreciate it.
Good to talk, Chris.
Liam Bartlett there from 6PR, morning host in Perth. Listen to him 5 days a week if you can. And it's great to have him giving his perspective from the West on this program.